For the first 17 years of our marriage, I was a pastor. And as the Lord kept blessing us with more children, the Lord put it on both of Lisa and my heart to make ourselves more available for them. We've always felt that our children were the most important disciples in our life. And the Lord actually fulfilled that desire for us to have a lifestyle to do that, and allowed us to step down from a salary position as a pastor and actually move to the country.
For us, and also going off the salary was kind of a step of freedom from something we were starting to feel in bondage to. I felt so excited that it was time and God was going to be doing other things in our lives and opening doors. And
we had already been pursuing some home industry opportunities, and we were working on some various crafts and rustic type of woodworking, and we were bringing these to farmers markets. And there was a lady who was actually in charge of interior decoration for a new hotel that was to go up in Waterton National Park in southwestern Alberta. And she saw some of my son's scroll work, he was only 14 at the time, and they liked what they saw, and they actually had us do all the headboards in that hotel. And so the Lord really surprised us with that opportunity to provide some substantial amount of income for our family.
On our trip to Texas, when we went to see my grandma, I remember at our prayer time every morning, everybody prays, and our children would all pray that God would give us a place in the country and a farm. And
when we got back, we had noticed that we only had 3 weeks to get out of our home there in the town. And so we knew things had to happen very quickly. And we had been looking at how to write dining hall, actually, for a possible place that we could renovate and build. There was also a message on our answering machine from a neighboring farmer that he had a plot of land that he was willing to subdivide for us. I remember clearly kneeling down on this piece of land and asking God to really show us His will, and we felt peace, excited. This is what God wanted to do. God began to answer that prayer in some amazing ways. At the same time, we had some friends who are very skilled in framing houses in the Vancouver area in BC, and they were very busy. This was the first time in 2 years that they actually had some time off, and they just happened to phone us to see if they could offer any services and see how we were doing it. And they offered to help us build a basement that would match the dimensions of the building that we'd be getting from the Hutterite colony. And I felt like I was just being thrust into a mighty river that was swiftly going by, and I just had to hang on for dear life, because there's so many things that I felt unqualified for, and I just was wondering, how is this going to possibly happen? And there were feelings of panic and fear, and I was just remember crying out to the Lord, and I remember Him giving me peace during that time. But there was also a real feeling of panic and fear in some cases, and but it was so encouraging to see how the Lord would bring all of this together.
Welcome back to this Entrusted With Arrows edition of Gospel Road. I am Lary Heather, your host. That was homeschoolers Dale and Lisa Jost of Milk River, Alberta. We now continue with our conversation with Greg and Dallas Lemmerman of the Christian film company MovieMakers. Greg, tell us about the theme purpose of MovieMakers.
The theme purpose, yes. Well, we heard this at San Antonio, actually, a filmmaker there, and I really stuck with this one, and it was preparing God-honoring films for God-prepared audiences. And that's what we pray for, is that God will give us a film that will honor Him, that people need to hear. That's our mission going forward, and as we did our educational films, that was our start. But our goal really is to make God-honoring films.
I believe one of your first productions was one dealing with the Airdrie area, or somewhere near north of Calgary, and it was about something that was a first in Alberta and never occurred again. What was that about?
Well, maybe I should let Dallas take this, because it was his high school project. This is our first film.
Yeah, that film, interestingly enough, was shot before we actually formed the company and only released this last spring. It kind of got lost in the vault. It was a film and a story about the stagecoach robbery that happened in Sharp Hill, which is the only successful stagecoach robbery that happened in Alberta.
And that's some 7 kilometers north of Calgary? Or
Yeah,
something?
that's right in between Calgary and Airdrie. So in that little acreage community, you might see it when you're driving down the highway.
Okay, the only stagecoach robbery. Dallas, what are some of the unique challenges you have discovered in the writing of the screenplay and technical challenges that come in putting a movie together?
Boy, that's a big question.
Unique challenges of writing the screenplay and technical challenges. We're just thinking out loud here. Writing is something that has its own challenges with it, but one of my challenges as the writer of these screenplays has been learning the form. We've been able to find an online, Dallas, where did you get that software? It was a free download,
Yeah,
was it not?
Celtics, which is...
called Celtics, which people could download if they want, and it gives us the format, the correct format. We've also read a number of books on how to do that.
Celtics. When you're doing this, do you have to wear a kilt or something?
We just let Dallas do that. CELTX, is that correct, Dallas?
Oh,
Celtics.
okay, right.
And technical challenges is something that Dallas has really taken on, and I really respect him for, is that he has taught himself so much, both in high school and since, about the technical challenges of filmmaking. The film Subitize Me, we filmed it in green screen with our young actors, and then he created digitally every background in that film. And if you look at them, they're quite amazing.
So, Dallas, what is green screen technology? What does it do that you can't do normally?
Oh, it is basically putting somebody in front of something green and then taking the green away and making it transparent so you can layer them over top another image or video, which allows you to put people in places that you might not be able to get to. We used it twice in Entrusted With Arrows for some pickup shots that we missed, and we couldn't go back and replicate the springtime shots that we shot in Calgary. And so we took some video still footage that we had taken with nobody in it and put my dad over top of that so that we could make it look like we had shot it at the same time and kind of cover up my mistakes so nobody would notice, I think, is the...
So that's the challenge for your listeners, Larry, is when they buy our videos to see where they can see me in front of downtown Calgary, but I'm not really in front of downtown Calgary. I'm standing in my backyard, and Dallas has put it in to make it look like all the others that were actually shot there.
Yes, well, that's very interesting. I noticed you say springtime production, and there was snow on the ground.
Actually, it was a December production, Dallas.
Was it? Okay.
Okay, I was wondering, because it could very well be springtime in
Could be
Calgary.
July.
It was spring-like weather that morning. That's why it was pretty warm.
Okay. Greg, who assisted you in this project, both inside and outside the family, to make it all possible?
Well, you heard that excerpt of the Josts there just a moment ago. And obviously, outside our family were these other families that were willing to be part of our film by being interviewed. And when we first got all our material together, we had almost 2-hour-long film, and we wanted a 60-minute film. And it was one of the most difficult challenges we had was editing out all the wisdom that was given by these 5 men and their wives and their children as well, and getting it down to a 60-minute film.
And that first 2-hour cut, probably half the footage didn't even make it to that cut.
Yeah, so we had some...
So, and it was all very good.
Wonderful, wonderful material from those people, and we can't thank them enough. But within our family, we've really tried to make this a family business. Dallas and I do the bulk of the work, and it is our business. But our other son, Dustin, our second son, who's turning 21 here this week, has made our website, our MovieMakers website. Our other son, Travis, who's 18, has made our trap sheet, which is the
graphic art and the images you'd see on the CD and the disc.
The discs. So the art for the cover and for the disc is made by him. Shalane, our daughter, is our shipping and handling department. Shauna, you heard her voice earlier, was one of our narrators, and she helps greatly by brainstorming and contributing ideas to scripts. And then our 2 young ones like holding microphones and bounce boards and just being gophers. And
we always like to turn our filming projects in. For example, this one, we turned it into a big vacation. We went down on a filming tour,
right,
where we went and we got to see Georgia and the ocean. And so we all traveled in a van for quite a long time.
30 days. 30-day road trip. It was a
lot of time together.
Great family.
Wow. And so this home-based business has really brought your family together in many ways.